Hello and welcome to another episode of Profoundly Silly Wisdom, the channel for people who are ready to start living as their authentic self rather than following all the shoulds. Now, today's question is, how do I overcome confusion in life? This can be confusion in different areas. So it could be confusion about your direction in life. What direction am I taking? I'm not sure what I want to do with my life. It could be confusion about a decision that you need to make, or it could just be this kind of general confusion about, what's true, what isn't true, who do I believe, what do I believe, with so much fake news flying around the place and just so much overwhelm, frankly, and distraction. So wherever your confusion is coming from, this is the place for you if you're ready to start moving beyond it rather than being a victim of it. So how do we get past confusion? Well, first it helps to know what causes confusion in the first place. So basically, confusion happens when our conscious mind gets overwhelmed. So this can often happen when, there are a lot of variables at play. If you think about the confusion where I don't know what to believe or who to believe, it's where you're getting so many different stories perhaps. And it's like, well, which is true? Assuming that one of them is actually true. But it's this sense of, if you're working on a problem, the studies have shown that our conscious mind can handle about 6 variables before it starts to get overwhelmed and can't sort of compute all of the possible outcomes and therefore make a logical decision. So it could, confusion is sometimes coming from that. It's like you're putting too much pressure on your conscious mind's processing ability. But the other place it comes from is basically fear. It can be, in the case of the decision, for example, that you've got to make, it might be fear of making the wrong decision and therefore facing dire consequences as a result. So how do we move past it? Well, to move past it, we kind of need to understand what confusion is for or how it's helping us. You think, helping me? It doesn't feel like it's helping me much. But, if you're feeling confused, then it's kind of a sign that it's time for you to pause. Because what's happened is that your focus is in your head and you're thinking, and you're basically getting caught up in so many thoughts that you've got brain overload, essentially. So it's a signal, confusion is a signal to move from your head to your heart. And why is this? Well, why do you want to move from your head to your heart? Because your head doesn't have the answer. Basically, you wouldn't be confused if you'd been able to work it out in your head, and in some ways, what you've been doing when you've been trying to work out the answer with this confused brain is you just keep adding more and more variables. And it's just like, the more the more information you go, oh, let me just Google one more thing that I could possibly do. And before you know it, you're just spinning your wheels and getting muddy. And now we need to go somewhere else, if you like, to get the answer. And that place is your heart. So it's actually a sign, it's a focus problem. Confusion is a sign that it's time to focus elsewhere. So when we get confused, we need to move from the part that is causing the confusion to the part that knows the solution, essentially. So, and the key is your heart, your soul or intuitive mind. This is the authentic you. And why do I say this is the place that has the solution? Because it's the you that exists beyond the conditioning, beyond the programs in your mind. If you think about it, we grow up, we come into the world as newborn babies. We're completely clean of programs, other than the basic functions to survive on the physical level. The fear of noises, that's inbuilt into the system, if you like. But so many things, almost everything that we know as truth comes into us through our upbringing, through what we're taught by our parents or guardians, through what we're taught through the education system and society as a whole, all of the information, what we should be doing. Again, the shoulds that I'm always going on about. So, but our heart, if you like, the part that I'm pointing to, the soul, the intuitive mind, if you like, that's the part of us that is clean of all of those programs. So it, in some sense, it existed before you got programmed to be, a certain way. And, you know, some of the reasons we get confused is because actually there's a conflict between, you know, what's going on in our head and actually the truth of our heart. And we can feel that disconnect. You know, in the case of the person who, you know, I'm not fulfilled in life, you know, there's more to life, but I just don't know how to, you know, to get there. That's your heart speaking. That's your heart saying, actually, there's a deeper truth there for me. There's something more than what I've been taught, but I don't know what it is. So again, the heart is the place to come to, because that's the authentic you. You know, when I talk about being authentic, that's where the authentic you lives, basically. So, you know, your heart knows your deepest desires. So not just the things you're told you should want or go after, you know, the things you're told, you know, are important from other people's perspective, but what's really important to you. And it knows what's best for you. So in the case of the decision that you need to make, it knows, you know, it knows what suits your nature and your ultimate path and purpose. So that's why we want to come to this space. So to overcome confusion, you need to start developing a relationship with your heart, because that is how you're going to start to intuitively know what is right for you. And yeah, on that point, actually, if you think about it, the head, what I'm calling the head, which is your thinking, which is your, you know, intellect and your beliefs. Your head believes, it thinks, it reasons, but your heart just knows, you know, and it doesn't matter how confused you are now. There will have been a time where you just knew something to be true. You just knew it. You didn't necessarily know how. That's your heart. So the more you can build that relationship, the less confusion you will have, and the more you will be able to tap into your intuitive knowing. So I'm going to give you 3 examples of exercises that you can do. Now, the first one is, like, if you're finding yourself in a state of confusion, you know, do yourself a big favour. Start each morning, even if it's just a couple of minutes, before your brain kicks in, before you look at all your emails, before you think about all of the things you need to do in the day or worry about things, you know, in that kind of hazy sort of waking, you know, just starting to wake up state. If you can spend even a couple of minutes a day just tuning into your heart. And what do I mean? I mean, it sounds tune into your heart. so spiritual. But basically, just breathe. Just sit there and breathe. You know, and if it, maybe put your hand on your heart. You know, you can sit on a chair. You don't have to sit in the lotus position, you know, assume the lotus position. Just go and sit upright so you don't fall asleep. Put your hand or your hands on your heart and just breathe into that space. In through your nose, out through your mouth. But imagine the air moving into your heart and out of your heart. What does that do? Does it literally send the air into your heart and out of your heart? No, it's using your imagination to focus your attention. And that's what this is all about. It's about all of these spiritual tools are really just about focus. They're focusing your mind so you can start using your mind for you rather than against you. So that's the first one. And what does this do? If you start every day with just that awareness of your heart, you know, you think, well, is that really going to solve all my problems? Well, not instantly, but what it's going to start to do is start to make you aware, because you're using your mind to focus. It's going to start making you aware, there's another part of me. There's a quiet part of me that isn't engaged in all this stress and confusion. And the more you start to do that, the stronger that connection will become, and you will start to naturally know, you know, more things, insights will arise. You will start to connect to that deeper part of you because you'll know it exists because you've been focusing on it. The second example is it's pretty much the same thing, but just to do that during the day. So in the example where you maybe you get stressed or confused about something in the day. Again, what is that? That's a flag waving saying it's time to pause. You've got caught up in your head and it's not helping you. Any more thinking you do is just adding fuel to that fire. So now take a moment to pause. And it's as simple as literally put your hand on your heart if you can, and then take 3 deep breaths into your heart again. Just take and imagine that air going into the center of your chest. When I say heart, I mean heart space, the center of your chest. From a spiritual point of view, obviously that's the heart chakra. But you don't need to know about chakras for this stuff to work. So yeah, breathe into that space. So move, and it's helpful to close your eyes, I would say, for both of these, because it minimizes distractions. So when you do that, just breathe. But even if you can't close your eyes, just become aware of that breathing into that space. And just notice as you put your focus onto that center of your heart space, what do you feel? Because what you'll start to notice is that actually that place is calm. You may have just been shitting yourself about something, literally. But if you can take a moment just to breathe and focus on that place in the center of your heart, you'll notice, weirdly, even though my mind is panicking, there's a little space inside of me that is actually calm. And that is your heart or your soul or your intuitive mind, the you that exists outside of this problem that your mind has created. And again, so what are you doing? You're reminding yourself when shit's going down, you're coming back to that truth that there's a deeper you that actually knows the answer. Now, it's possible you may get an insight when you do that. But, don't worry. It's not about instantly trying to get the answer. You're actually just deepening that connection. You're building that relationship with your true self, with your authentic self. So over time, that means you're going to just naturally be more intuitive. You'll just, again, going back to that, I just know. How do I know? I don't know, but I just know. The head thinks, worries, stresses, and the heart knows. So just remember that. And the final thing is, obviously there are many exercises and I can't cover them all in this video. Get help. If this is a serious problem that you're struggling with from the point of view of your mind, and you're struggling to center yourself, because these are sort of longer term things really that will help you over the long run. But if you need it, get help. Go to someone who can help you move into that place of calm. This is why people get counselling, because they hold a space for you to, unpack all of the crazy thinking that's going on, so that then what happens? Your mind slows down, and that leaves space then for some insight to come from your heart, from the deeper you. And that's what you need. So, if you are really, really confused about life, get help. And actually take a look in the description box below this video, because I actually offer coaching. And one of the things I'm offering currently is a clarity session. So if you are confused about something, I hold the space for you essentially to unpack everything that's going on. But not only that, I use intuitive tools as well. I use the tarot, for example, things that help you to delve into your subconscious mind to get that wisdom that's residing there. So basically, get help. Check out the link below if you want to find out more about how I can potentially help you. But it doesn't just have to be me. If you are really stressed, just, find someone who can actually just hold that space for you to unpack your thoughts. Even if it's just a good friend who isn't going to get caught up in the drama of the confusion, is just going to be able to listen, someone who knows how to listen rather than add fuel to your mental fire. So those are the 3 things. I hope you found that helpful. If you did, please like the video so more people see it. And if you know someone who is struggling with confusion as well, share this with them, whether they're undecided about what to do in their life, or whether they're trying to make a decision and they just can't, they're too stressed about it, frankly, to make the decision, or whether it's, more of I just don't know what's true. I'm trying to work out what's true for me. It might be so more on an existential level, any level of confusion, just share this with them. And also, subscribe if you want to hear more profoundly silly, wise thoughts. And of course, check out the link below this video if you'd like to know about working with me. So the summary, just to summarize, the more you start to develop this relationship with your authentic self, your heart, your soul, your intuitive mind, the more you're going to just day by day experience the clarity that comes, the knowing that comes from being connected to your heart. Because that is really the problem that the world is facing at the moment. There's a lot of confusion in the world. And it's because we've become disconnected from our hearts. We've been filled and filled and filled and overfilled with information. And it's overwhelmed us, and we've kind of lost our own sense of truth. And then, you've got other people telling everybody else what their truth with a capital T is. And that doesn't help either, because you're just following someone else's truth. So you're not connecting to yourself, which just creates even more confusion. So the best thing that you can do at any point in your life, and the best thing that we can do as a collective, is to learn to develop that relationship with our own hearts, to move from the head to the heart, so that we can actually start living from the wisdom that resides in our heart. So yeah, I hope you found that helpful, and I will see you on the other side.